right. All right. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Super excited to be here with you guys today. We have like the most incredible guest. I've been waiting for her to come on. I'm so excited that you guys get a chance to, if you do not know Christine, get to know her. And if you already do, gosh, you guys already know she's an absolute powerhouse in our industry. Best-selling author, high-performance coach, award-winning mortgage executive, sales leader. She's highly decorated in our industry. She's won all of the awards. She also heads up executive consulting over at 2020 Vision for Success and Coaching and VisionMark Expert Marketing. She's absolutely incredible, and I'm like so blessed for her to be here. Let me tell you before she comes on and says hi, Christine, I gotta thank you. You said something like on Facebook a while ago when I was thinking about doing this event. I was like, God, just really struggling with not seeing myself represented. And you posted something that said like, if you're not happy with what you're seeing on stage, or you're not being asked to be on stage and you want to be on stage, just be on stage, build your own stage. And I was like, okay, all right, let's do it. And so I had this idea, and this is how I know it's a divine idea. I should not, with just being a regular old loan officer out here in California, I don't own a company. It's just me. I should not be the person throwing this event. I should not have the people like you that have said yes, that they will come and speak at this event. And so that's how I know in my heart of hearts that this vision for this event and this movement was a divine idea, is because people like you have rallied and said yes. And like, I know October is super busy for you. I know there's plenty of places you have to be. You got a book coming out as well. And so I'm so grateful that you were like, squeeze you in. So thank you for that. And thank you for coming today.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I mean, I'm going to just jump in and say, it comes easy for me at this point in my career to help other women find their foothold. I actually met you at Fuse in person, but was following you on social media. I pay attention. You had a very distinct voice of, I would say, bravado, meaning you were calling things out that you saw that you thought were maybe indiscriminative. And I loved that about you, because I didn't have that for the first 30 years of my career. I really just, try to lead with my results and compete on a sales platform. And things were different and times were different. And you just kind of appreciated where you were sitting. As time has gone on, obviously, I've become quite liberated and out and outspoken and doing all these things. But you're coming to me during my legacy years where I'm reaching back for what I think will be profound future leaders like yourself. And so being brave is one of the key components. I love the name of this venue, the Notorious. I always wanted to be, people say I'm a badass. I laugh when I always hear it labeled that way. I don't know what that really means, other than they know that I'm going to, stand my ground or say what needs to be said. But I love that it's notorious. That fits my mantra quite well. So thank you for taking my advice and building the stage.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. So why did you say yes? Beyond, helping other women come into their own voice and, building the next generation of leaders, what were those challenges for you coming up in the industry, being a female? What do you see that we can shift? Like, go to town.
Yeah. I'm always going to start with, first of all, I'm going to tell everybody that I take almost 100% of the inquired networking requests I receive. So when you want to know how I became a top 5, 10% salesperson consistently year over year, every single year that I've been in the industry, it's because I always say, sure, I don't ever feel, sure, I get tired like everybody else, and it's hard to accommodate all the requests. But I always say there's something good that I'm going to learn from this person. And it could be somebody that doesn't have a lot of experience, but they're trying to show me a tech platform. And I know, I also preach time management and boundaries and, doing things that are fruitful and focusing on really good prospecting. But I have never found a person that I did not sit with for 20 to 30 minutes, that I was not enlightened by their story.
Mhm.
Where in the future, that person would not come back to pay me some form of dividend, whether it was referring somebody to an event I was having or it was buying a ticket themselves for something. The thing about the world that we live in is when you give, you get.
Mhm.
I've been a giver my whole life. I've been giving away my time, my energy, my passion. It's come back to me 100 times. I am loved on social media. I have haters on social media. It's interesting to be on social media. I am going to be celebrating my 55th birthday this fall. And my challenge to myself is to stay strong, stay tough, I'm a hustler at the end of the day. I'm a sales girl. I'm the OG originator. I was an originator. Through college, I was the understudy to a female originator in Massachusetts. I was born and raised in New Hampshire. I remember just being enamored with the amount of money that, was at Liberty for this woman that was doing this job. And I was going to school for sports medicine and nutrition. And I always wanted to be in the medical field and I wanted to be an athlete. And today I still am. I weight lift and I'm very, very athletic. I probably work out like 8 to 10 hours a week. I don't skip it. I'm a nutritionalist. People will know this if they eat with me. I eat super clean. And so, I live and die by a certain prowess, if you will. Like I invest in myself mentally, professional development. I read, I write, I teach, I give. And so I just, I'm saying this in a very, very long-winded way, but this is who I believe I am.
Mhm.
This has paid me great dividends. I think it's a recipe for all people for success. And so get out there and meet the world, because the world that comes to you that says, I want to know more about you. And even if they want to show you something, let them show you what they have. Like, let them be proud of their product, their thing, their story, and listen. Like, I square off when someone approaches me in a hallway at a hotel. I don't rush away. I'm not some big celebrity that doesn't care that this person's coming up to me with my book or something they saw that they want to tell me, and I stop and I look them right in the eyes and I want to hear what they're saying to me. Like, what is this person's got something to say? Like, what are they saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess if you treat every moment as a miracle waiting to happen, right? And then allowing that to come into your life, and how many blessings do we block if we're just so consumed with ourselves? So I love that. And I do think it's wild when you think about the amount of money that we can make in this industry with no higher degree. I mean, put your courses to work and then get out there and like bust your ass off and you can kill it here. And it's like, when I think of like that part of it, it's just incredible, especially as a woman, being able to have an industry like this, that, if you want to have babies, you can still kind of juggle it all. And the world is really your, what is it? Your oyster. I get
Yeah.
every saying wrong, by the way. So if
The
I get
world is
it right,
yours.
yeah.
It's yours.
Yeah.
Take it.
So
Look at
let's,
what you're doing too. I want to say this. Like, I'm sure I held my first industry event, 5 or 6 years ago that I hosted. I've been holding events for the companies I work with, and they're a ton of work. And I had some understanding, but I remember the night I announced laying in, I vividly remember laying my head on the pillow and I couldn't sleep. I had a gazillion things going through my head about this event. And I knew exactly where you were when you took the leap, because I laid there going, what did you do, Christine? Like, I mean, is anyone going to come? Are these tickets going to sell? And that fear pushed me to perform and find, and hustle at a different level. And that event was unbelievable. And I had many events since, and I'll have many events in the future. This year, we switched gears a little bit because of the downsize of the industry. We went with difference maker masterminds, and we're touring the country this year. And so we're selling out all our shows. We right now have a show in Boston, Scottsdale, Arizona, and Philadelphia on the books. If you go to our website or you go over to our social media, and they're selling out, and so it's fabulous. It's a fabulous thing. You're building a name for yourself. You've collected an incredible lineup of people that I'm privileged to feel to be on stage with. And I wouldn't recite your roster. You know it better than me, but notables are Katie Sweeney, who I think is, a groundbreaking and up and coming leader. I think
Have
what
an
she did.
interesting talk. She's going to have an
Yeah.
interesting. I'm really excited to hear. It specifically picked her just so you guys know. Like Katie, head of AIM, now she's over at BAC. People have said, "Oh, she's going to come and talk like Broker Action Coalition." Like, no, she's not there to talk Broker Action Coalition. She's there to talk about transition and about how when you put yourself in the spotlight, people are going to take shots, right? Because a lot of people have taken shots at her, and that is the cost of making an impact. Whether you like somebody or you don't like somebody, just know. And as women, gosh, we have such a hard time with putting ourselves out there because what are people going to say? And so that's why she's specifically there. Is I was like, I want you to come and talk about that because we deal with that, right?
She's very brave. She's very, very brave. I mean, I've talked with her privately at very difficult times, throughout her career. I have not missed one of her keynotes that she performed in her previous role. I was always front and center and always impressed. I don't think I ever delivered a speech in my life that was as polished and well done and paced and very, 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 I would say, prominent speaker.
Yeah.
And so I always feel privileged to be on billings with other, people like that. I am excited to be bringing, a hard hitting talk myself. As you mentioned, have a new book that's coming out, and I'm not trying to sell books, but this book's going to be freaking fire. I'm telling you right now, I always say my last book's my best book. And I thought my last book was the best I could do. And I was very proud. And that book is in competition this year across America. My team has it in book competition because we always want to say award winning for each of our books, but we can't really say that till it wins awards. And so we do take the time. And there's a period of time. People don't realize this. When you write a book, you have 24 months to enter it into literary competition. If it's ever going to win prizes, and then it expires. And that's how they kind of limit like who's entering, because once 2 years has passed, you'd actually have to edit it and publish a new edition if you miss the window. So anyways, this book that's coming out this fall is called High Selling is a Drug. And I talk about everything in this book, and I am flexing my 40-year sales career. I am taking 12 prominent pictures with leaders that gave me shots in the industry, both within the mortgage industry at executive levels. And even at every little level, like I'm getting pictures taken with the manager that made me an area manager for the very first time, the one that made me the district manager for the first time, the one that made me a regional manager for the first time. Last week, I did 4 photo shoots in Portland, Maine, Atlantic City. I did 2, New Jersey, and I did 1 in Philadelphia. Casa leaked the photo last week, one of the photos, not the one that's going to be in the book. I mean, he obviously made me the coaching partner of the Associated Independent Mortgage Experts. And I always say this, like as a woman, and I know we're talking on women's topics, to have prominent men pick you to be their sales leader in my career was unheard of. And I really want to give them credit in my story that I'm putting out, like for that. For me, I revere that they took a chance to make me their sales leader amongst all the choices they had. And by the way, I made all those men a ton of money. Yeah. And so they're still to this day, very good to me. And I always left kind of Seinfeld level, that's how you'll see me leave this industry, by the way. When you see me at my absolute highest and you think I'm on some significant role, you're going to see me drop the mic. And, I can't say where that's coming, but I can tell you it's in my eyesight now, of the years that are coming, because I want to leave people wanting more, and inviting me back maybe for a talk here or there or something in my retirement years.
Yeah. It's a beautiful experience. That's like one of the things that I think about sometimes. It's really that awareness of the powerful male leaders in our industry to be able to open the door for us and pull out our seat and let it allow, just inviting us and ushering us to the table instead of, sometimes it's just letting the door slide behind you. It's hey, and so bringing that awareness of, what we are seeing in the industry. I know for myself last year, it was just every lineup I saw. I was like, what is going on here? Like, I
Yeah.
was thinking to myself, is your market not women? Like, I really think that your market is not women. And they're like, no. Women can come to our coaching program. And I'm like, I would not know that because you put up an all male panel. And if I need to resonate with that, like, so I don't see myself up there. And so representation is important and equity is important. And like when I see rooms and I'm just like, I can tell you the metrics are off somehow because I'm just looking at the demographics in the room. And so how do we shift that? And my thought was that, if in these rooms, if we're not getting women in the rooms, they're missing out on amazing leadership. They're missing out on network. And through your network comes opportunities. And there's a reason why we see the same speakers on the same panels all the time, because it becomes a higher, good old boys club. And so the more women we can bring to that space, I think can help shift and just elevate the female voice. So yeah, I love the men that have our back. Thank you guys.
I think that's an important part of the story that gets missed a lot of times with women's advocacy. We have a double-edged sword and it's hard. Because how do we push the needle ahead, grow the percentages of women in a minority industry of women, and at the same time don't come off the martyr. I have never been a big fan of you having me meet a quota. If you're telling me I'm at this table because I've literally had diversity leaders be like, well, I need a woman at the table, and I'm like, that's not me.
Right.
I will never fit a quota. I don't really love being put on the women's stages that are at big conferences if they have side stages for the women, because I earned a right to be on the main stage as an executive leader of banks. 98%, 99% of the audience has never held the positions that I've held. And by the way, a lot of times the billing for the men that are on the main stage have never held positions I've held. And so when you put me on a woman's roster on the side stage, you're setting a kids table for the women. And I don't think it helps women. I think it makes us look like we need a kids table. I don't want to meet a quota. I can live with where we are in the history of our future, how long it's been since we had, it was the 1940s when we were able to vote. It wasn't that long ago. So in our century, if we can call it that, of time where we can make change, what's important is to find the places where we can exploit our abilities, where we can confidently defend our positions. I have fought as many fights as I have stood down from in my career. Sometimes I had to stand down to be strategic, because I knew that I might lose my job if I spoke up, but there were times I could fight. I fought a fight leaving my last job that I didn't think I would ever do, and I fought it harder than I ever have. And I didn't necessarily win, but I left an impression that opened doors for the women behind me with the organization that I was with. And so sometimes we just have to ask ourselves, like, what are the battles that we're willing to fight? Like, what are the things that we're willing to do? I've had every unfair thing that women go through happen to them, from sexual discrimination to pay inequality to sexual, obviously, harassment. And I live by a code of ethics, and I'm hard on women too. I tell women, don't be smart. Don't do anything, that is going to put you in a position where your character is going to be put in question. Drive from a place of results. Like, don't ask for the seat at the table, earn the seat at the table, keep the seat at the table. And if someone comes to challenge you and you've got the results, fight. Fight for the turf that you're on if you've earned the turf that you're on.
Yep, I agree. Let's talk. So in sales, I sometimes have this conversation with my husband. In sales, as a woman, I laugh sometimes when people are like, oh, sexual harassment. And I'm like, oh my God, I've been in sales my whole life. And that was just kind of part of it, that you just dealt with it and was like, all right, well then how do I spin what I naturally have into my favor? Like, if you're like, so I always laugh when it's like a sales talk. I'm like, that stuff, oh, like the no sexual harassment only exists within the office, because if you're in sales, you know, at the end of the day, not that you want to like exploit yourself, but we can use our certain abilities and certain assets to drive our business forward like men do. And so sometimes I talk about that with energy and like how I build my business very differently than a man will. And so that's what I also love about having that female creativity and like attraction. I put that into my business instead of, you know, a lot of times men will just, it's all out massive action, outworking everybody. And like, I get that. And then also, I really love having business come to me. And I really love like building my business with an ease and a grace and a female touch to it. And that's why I'm excited to have this event, because I think a lot of the times that building your business with like a divine feminine attraction is missing sometimes. Because I know I get real burned out if it's just like, you know, outwork everybody. I'm like, I can't do
No,
that.
there's clear assets that women have. You know, I've been, you know, I've built sales teams, and so I've had the opportunity to hire women. And obviously I've seen incredible women. I'm surrounded by incredible women. 2020 is run by 80% female executives. In all my departments. My COO is female, my CFO is female, my senior directors of all divisions are women. We have a large contingency of male consultants and coaches. Fraser is obviously male. He's going to laugh when he hears that. My chief growth officer. And so I'm not really like going from a gender perspective, but man, you know, I do think that women have some built-in trust that they can leverage. There is a maternal side, there is a creative side, which bodes well for marketing. You know, I spent a long time in my career buttoned up to here, hair pulled back, in Hillary Clinton pantsuits, I always say. And that is like legit the way that, you know, you wanted to kind of just not, you wanted to be seen as like asexual, if you will.
Yeah.
And somewhere in the last few years, I finally, as I reach my mid 50s, I'm like, what am I hiding? I'm a woman. Like I need to really lean into the fact that I want to feel pretty. I want to feel sexy. I want to feel great about the gender that I am, and not hide that I have great abilities and great business sense. I've had the ability to build companies. I have a good reputation. I'm good at what I do. And yes, I'm a woman.
Yeah.
And so now this last year, my whole marketing team was like, what do you want to do this year? And I'm like, I'm taking my jacket off, you know, and they're like, what? And I'm like, I'm taking my jacket off. The cover of my book has my arms folded. All my tattoos are showing. Every picture I'm doing with the guys, I'm not wearing a jacket. My profile on Facebook right now has me not wearing a jacket. And kind of it's my way of being like unplugged or uncensored in a way, and just being like, here I am, you know, here I am. This is me. You know, I challenge anybody to step up and tell me why this isn't the greatest, you know, I'm not good at what I do, or that it compromises what I do or how I do it. And I hope I'm giving a permission slip to women as well. I think we have to be careful. I've written a safety book, so I'm always saying, be careful of your image online. And so even though my jacket's off, I think it's still a classy, athletic looking type of photo. But I really am here to tell women, like, we have to rise our own flags up. We have to really, I think we have gotten some of it wrong. You know, there are women that are working against us. I don't want to turn it into this type of a talk, but I'm going to say this. There are women that are doing things within the workplace that are not helping women's movements. Every time we compromise our integrity, we are hurting our cause in the workplace. And so I am a strong advocate that if we're going to make a movement and we're going to make, ourselves seen as serious business people, we've got to carry ourselves as such. And so listen, I'm out till 1:00 in the morning at the conventions. I want to be where the last of the hooligans are. I have a great sense of humor and this huge fun side of myself. And I want to see everything that's going on. So I by no means am some sort of prude, but I definitely walk, a line that is pretty strong character wise. because I really want to be, you know, strong in my voice and respected.
Yeah. 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 I love too how it just really feels like you're stepping into like all the parts of yourself and giving yourself the permission to be 100% authentic. And I think that's a powerful statement to make, especially in this industry where, you know, you typically have been told it's done a certain way. Right. And so allowing, you know, you to shine, I think really it's like the massive attractor when people get to know who you are and like buy into you from a heart level. And for you, it was the jacket. Like, take the jacket off, right?
Yeah.
And we talk about a lot on these live streams, just the idea around permission. And like as women, we're often waiting for somebody to give us permission. And like nobody give yourself the permission. Like
Yeah.
we are our own person that holds us back the most. And so stop waiting for permission. If you don't like what you're seeing, build your stage, you know, give yourself the permission to move forward. No, don't wait for somebody else to tell you you can do whatever you want to do. So I love that. Yeah. So tell me about your book and then we'll wrap this thing up.
Yeah. So high selling is a drug. I just have not done my industry sales book yet. You know, I have 5 books of my own. I have, I think, 11 books that I've contributed to in a chapter or a forward or some sort of excerpt. This will be my 6th individually published book. And I, you know, all of them are self-help and business, but this one is literally like everything a top performing salesperson should know about building teams, recruiting, you know, selling, competing. It's all sales. And I know I'll lecture on it. I know I'm creating a book that will be hired for lecture. I know it's going to be a bestseller. I just know it. My last book was #1 in the world on Amazon in its genre the day that it released on October 11th last year. It was a very emotional book, Finding Honor, The Journey to the Truth, is a memoir about my journey towards leveling myself up professionally and personally while my sister was dying. And she died 3 days after I finished the book. And we hurried up and added the last chapter of the book. It's extremely emotional. The reviews are like ripping raw. People will write me long letters telling me, like, you know, it has dark spots in it because you can't walk someone that you've lived your whole life with out of this world while they're trying to find their salvation, and you're teaching some of those lessons that you've applied without it being that way. I'm excited about this book. This book is going to flex my knowledge. And I hope everybody lines up. It's coming out on November 5th, which is the day after my 55th double nickels birthday.
Wow.
And I hope it makes me feel young and beautiful and wonderful and confident, which is all a girl ever wants. And so if I have a candle to blow out on my 55th birthday, that's what I'll be wishing for. I don't think there's anything less we can do as women than do something incredible for ourselves, do something that's meaningful, and do something that reminds us how notorious we are. And I think you're doing that with this conference. And I thank you for making me a part of it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so excited for the book. I cannot wait for it to come out. You guys, if you guys need to get your tickets, you can go to NOTORIOUSWMN.com, grab your tickets, meet us in Austin. It's October 13th through the 16th. It's going to be incredible. We have an all-star packed lineup. We're about 50% sold out. So you want to get your tickets. We just launched, you know, regular tickets or whatever you call that after pre-sale. I don't know, but we got a couple more months before we're going to be there. Get your tickets. Join us in Austin. It's going to be the event of the year for women in mortgage. So thank you so much for coming on. And then are you going to EPM?
I have an 18-year-old son graduating this Thursday, my only son. And so this week is about him. We're leaving in a couple hours for his senior night. So I am not, and I'm going to have huge FOMO, but 2020 Vision is there. We are sponsoring. Jason Frazier's on the stage. Mark Hayden's at the booth. Go visit the 2020 Vision booth. We love Eddie. Eddie is one of our clients. EPN executives are partners here. And I hope everybody has a grand time. I'll be back next year for that, but I got a bigger role to play as mom this week. Most important. So
Yeah, well, we'll miss you. And for those of you going out to Atlanta for EPM's tag event, I'll be there. Come and say hi. And with that, I'll see you guys on the next live stream.
Thanks.